I got to step into my power so that I can empower more women who were struggling just like I was.
So earlier in my career, I wish somebody would have told me that not everybody wants to see me win. Not everybody was going to be by my side. I had to learn to be my biggest cheerleader, to be the person to go out there and step out of my comfort zone and do new things, try new things, because not everybody is going to be supportive.
Guess what? You're not in it alone, because there's tons of women out there that are struggling just like you, who want to be there to support you.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of You Were Meant for More. I'm your host, Francine Ayala, and today, oh my goodness, we have such an amazing show for you. We're going to talk all things perimenopause and menopause. Now, it's just going to be more of like our own experiences and what we've been dealing with and what other women out there have been dealing with, because we want to make sure we're supporting women on such a larger level. Come next week, we're going to bring in all of the experts that are going to share how to deal with all of these symptoms and craziness that you may be feeling or that we're going through, and we don't want you to miss out. So definitely, this is part one of our perimenopause, the wild ride to menopause, right? So I have the pleasure of bringing in some amazing guests. I absolutely adore these women. And I am going to go ahead and introduce you. So don't worry, if you're dealing with like hot flashes, night sweats, mood swings, welcome to the club. We're making jackets. So don't even worry. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And I'm going to go ahead and bring our guests on. But I want to introduce you to our first guest. She is a dear friend of mine. She's been married 6 years to a retired Navy veteran. She's a mom of 4 boys, age ranges from 30 to 16. She's a student at Cal State Fullerton, pursuing her master's in child and adolescent development, Montessori kindergarten teacher for 20 plus years, and currently working in special education as behavioral interventionist for Alhambra Unified School District. Plus, her and I go way, way back. So I'm going to bring her on, and her name is Virginia Casado Trusso. And then I'm going to bring in Yenny Hercules. She is, let me go ahead and share with you 1 second. I want to introduce her. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist focusing on the effects of childhood trauma. She has a BA in interdisciplinary art with a focus on labor studies from Dominguez Hills University and a master's degree in counseling, marriage, family, and child therapy from the University of Phoenix. She is the founder and CEO of Yen Wellness Family Counseling. Having served on several boards that focus on empowering women, she became an author of a book called I Am Marlene, Healing Your Inner Child. Her and I did a previous episode talking about childhood trauma, so you definitely want to go back and rewatch that one. She has multiple certifications in mental well-being and is a former Army reservist. So thank you, ladies, for joining. I can't wait. Let me bring them on. So welcome to the show.
Hello.
So let me go ahead and put this away so that I could see your beautiful faces. Thank you, ladies, for being here. I told you it was going to be a wild ride. If you don't know, our amazing friend Daisy was supposed to join us on this episode, but unfortunately we couldn't get her to join us today, but she's going to join me on a future episode. So stay tuned for that. But I am going to quickly, because for some reason, all of you that are interacting with us and asking questions on Facebook or YouTube, we're not able to see them. So definitely join us on Facebook. And if you have questions or you want to share your experiences, we would love to hear them. Leave them in the chat for us so that we can definitely, respond and we can do this interaction together. Okay, perfect. We are live and I'll be able to see your comments there. Sound good? All right, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start first with Virginia. Virginia, you and I go way back, girl.
Way back. I was trying to think how long. I think it's been like since 5th grade.
Wow.
What a second.
Like that.
I was like, okay, so Gabby, my best friend, she was in 5th grade. I was in 3rd grade. So I just don't know when you started. But
It might have been around that time. I remember it was at Inez and then Boys and Girls Club, which
Girls
led to
Club.
camp and high school. So kind of all that growing up. Yeah.
And then we went to camp together. I mean, we have pictures. We were in drill team together at the Boys and Girls Club. I was trying to get a picture of Virginia and I, because I'm telling you, adore and love this woman so much. I can't believe we've grown up together, and
Right?
literally here we are. We used to run around in camp, be silly, and here we are talking about menopause and perimenopause.
Right? Right? Which is so crazy. And you and I were talking about this last week. We just kind of started chatting with each other, and to
Yes.
think it's so crazy that we're going through all these phases of our life together.
Yes.
Yeah, just starting like elementary school, and our first crushes and boyfriends, and starting high school, and like starting your period, and now it's like going through menopause. I'm like, wow, that's just like full circle right
That
there.
was full circle, yeah. So I'm going to
So
go
it's
ahead and
crazy.
ask you first. So tell us your story. Like, what's been happening for you? Because, when I put this message out there, we want to be able to support women who actually think they're crazy. So I don't know how you first, or what started for you first. Was it hot flashes, emotional changes?
Oh yeah.
Share a little bit about how it all started, and how old were you when it started?
So I started to notice changes probably about 4 or 5 years ago, but they were very gradual. It was like my temperament, just really short tempered, more than usual, more than just like normal PMSing. I would go from like really high to like really low. And then the biggest thing for me was the night sweats. I'm usually one of those people who I always have like really cute jammies. I have the footy jammies. I'm always cold. And then one night I was drenched in sweat. And I was so uncomfortable. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And so now that's just since then kind of been my norm is, Francine, I was sharing with you, I start off in pajamas, like bottoms and tops. But by the time I get into bed, I am like underwear and tank top in the middle of winter with a fan on me, right? My poor husband, it's been getting colder at night. And the other night he was like, "Oh, you want to put another blanket on the bed?" I looked at him like, "Do you know who?" Like, no, no, I can't. I think there's no more clothes for me to take off. Like that. No, I don't want to put another blanket on the bed.
You're in winter, I'm in summer.
Yes, perpetually in the summer. Yeah. So that was like the big thing for me.
Yeah.
Another thing that actually really led me to like go to a doctor, and because I was convinced, I was like, I am going through perimenopause. I know it. The night sweats, the fatigue,
Oh my goodness.
constant fatigue. Like no matter if I got a really good night's sleep and 8 hours or whatever, I would wake up the next morning like, God, I could sleep another 3 hours. Or by noon, I was like, I really need a nap.
Yeah.
So that was very unlike me. But I
Yeah.
think what actually got me into the doctor's office was that. And I had a very serious weight gain within a very short amount of time. And I was going to the gym. I was a member of one of those, camps, and I was going like 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And I could not lose the weight. Could not lose it. And I was so frustrated because I was there 5 days a week working out. And I was like, what is going on with me? Because, 10 years ago, this would have worked. I would have been at my goal weight. I would have been in shape. I was so frustrated, and I was like, I know it. This is menopause. This is menopause. My body knew something was going on.
Yeah.
So I needed to like listen to my body and get myself to a doctor. I go, and my doctor was like, yeah, we really don't like think that that's what it is. I'm like, well, I don't care what you think it is. This is what I know it is. So
Yeah.
I switched my primary physician because of it.
Right.
Because I was like, you're not listening to me. And so I found a great primary physician who now, God bless her, Dr. G in Brea, you're the best. She listens to me. Everything. It's not just about how I'm feeling, like my physical body, but like my mental well-being too. And she's like, if you're not mentally like feeling yourself, like everything else is not going to fall into place. But a big thing why I knew it was perimenopause was because growing up, my mom went through it quite early. I was 16 or 17 when she started going through it. And we didn't really talk about it as close as my mom and I are. She said like, oh, I'm going through menopause, but I didn't know what that meant. But
Right.
we were like at each other's throats. Like we were, you imagine a 17-year-old PMSing and then going through perimenopause and then just butting heads with each other. So I knew she had gone through that change early. And I know it's very typical that if your mom went through it early, you kind of go through it early too. So I knew.
Aw,
Um,
Mama Casado.
yeah. Yeah. I knew. I was like, great. Thanks, mom.
Didn't we have like a
But
slumber party at your house one day? I mean,
yes, we had many. And like, honestly, I'm thinking, I don't know how I would handle like 8 teenage girls in my house right now. I'd be
you
like,
have
shut
boys. You
up.
have boys.
I do. I have boys who are the complete opposite. They don't want to know any of it.
Right.
They're like, I want no part of it. I don't want to know. So,
Well, it's so funny. I'm like, there's a reason why I didn't have a girl because I know what I put my mom through. So I have a boy
all the time. I say this to mom, I'm like, oh God, I can't even imagine.
No.
Because that was a challenging time for us. And I think when my mom was going through it, she had friends that she could talk to, but I feel it was much more taboo.
Yeah.
You just really didn't talk about it because what you just equated to like, oh, you're going through menopause, you're an old lady, you're getting old. And I certainly don't feel that way.
Yeah.
I have the mentality of like a 14-year-old boy. I live with a bunch of boys, so it's like I'm so immature and but my body is like, slow down. Slow down a little bit. You're not 14
slow down.
anymore.
You're done. Stop it.
Yeah. So it's been a wild ride. It really has been. And you don't know because it's different for everyone.
Right.
Everyone's journey is different. Their experiences, their symptoms are all different, but we're all going through the same thing. And I think what you're doing by opening up this forum and communication to talk about it, so we don't feel so alone.
Yes.
We're all experiencing it. We're all going to experience it. So might as well just, buckle up and enjoy the ride, but at least have like some advice from people who are going through it, so you don't feel like you're crazy and people don't tell you like, well, you're just going crazy.
I know. And that's the thing. I think it's so funny. I jokingly say, hey, if you thought we were crazy back then, wait until you see us now. I will show you crazy.
That's right. Like the other day, I feel so bad. The other day, I was just, I don't know what set me off, but I went from being in a good mood. I don't know. It's probably like something random. Like I had to unload the dishwasher, right? And I was just like not having it that day.
Yeah.
And my poor husband, he came home and he was like eating an orange and he was chewing so loudly. And I'm like, could you chew any louder? And he was like, what did I do? And I'm like, nothing. You're just
like,
chewing
I'm
and you're
walking
bothering
away.
me right now. Like,
I'm walking away. So right now, I don't know if you see my arms, but my hands are on my back. My back has been like super hot. Like it's the weirdest thing. And I'm like, oh, I haven't been experiencing hot flashes. I'm good, because apparently they're supposed to happen here and on your chest and all the things. I have been my back has been crazy hot. And it's like, it's so normal to me now that I'm just like, oh my goodness, what if that, it has to be a hot flash. It goes down from my lower, like my mid back to my lower butt. And it's just like so hot. And I'm like, oh my goodness, at night. So last night I woke up like just so hot. My body was so hot, like the back of my body. And, I really had to like just throw all the covers off me. And I have no AC on and no heater. So it's super cold up here. And I was just like going with the flow. I threw off everything except my underwear and my shirt. Yeah. And like, oh my goodness. I'm like, is this what we experience? Like, is this what all the ladies are talking about? And so, I really had to allow my body to cool down. And then I think it's because I had a glass of wine. So alcohol, will mess you up. But I literally, like, after I went to bed, I woke up at 2 a.m. And I was like, wide awake. I looked at my phone and I was like, I'm awake. Just like, goodness. Yeah. So for 2 hours I was awake. So I clearly had to come back home, take a nap, and then restart again. Oh my goodness. So
that insomnia is the worst.
Yes.
It's the worst. Because I used to I could fall asleep anywhere before. Like when I was tired, I would sleep. I fell
Right.
asleep at a Corn concert once. Corn. They came out like playing bagpipes. I fell asleep. My friend Michael was like, "Are you sleeping?" I'm like, "No, I'm awake.
No,
I'm fully awake."
no, of course not. No. No.
It's like I can fall asleep, but will I stay asleep?
Right.
And if I wake up, I'm like, how long am I going to be up?
Yeah, how long am I going to stay awake for? Yeah.
It's horrible.
It's random. So I get like insomnia every now and then, but in 2019 was the first time I'd ever gotten it. I'd ever gotten insomnia. I slept like a baby, and then all of a sudden insomnia hit. I was dying, and like it was so awful that I didn't even have the capacity to work, to show up, to do anything. I was like a sloth. And so it really took me down until one of my friends introduced me. I love you, Veronica, Miranda. She introduced me to CBD gummies. And I was like, that was my lifesaver. So whatever it is you're trying out there, like, we're all just trying to survive and like to make our lives like simpler. But that helped with the insomnia. It allowed me to sleep. And so eventually, like I got to wing off it, but I got to get off it. I don't take them anymore. I mean, I don't need to. But it's just like that. I went through it for like 8 or 9 months. And I remember telling my doctor, a woman, I told her, I said, I think I'm going through perimenopause. She's like, no, you're too young. I was 40 at the time. I'm 46 now. And I had to fight for my body to get a hysterectomy because I was just in excruciating, debilitating pain when I was on my period. And that started 9 years ago, back in 2021. So that was what?
Jeez.
Imagine. And so like everyone's like, oh, you had a hysterectomy? Like, how was it? Like, oh my God, thanks for sharing. And they're like, isn't it nice? I'm like, sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows everywhere. Like, seriously, I'm sorry, but it's so exciting. Like, no periods, and like I got rid of the pain. They kept my ovaries, so I still have the hormones and whatnot, but it's like, regardless, there's so many women out there that are going through hysterectomies, they're going through changes, and this needs to be talked about. This needs to be shared because like you got to fight for your body. You got to fight for what's, going on. And so that's why we're here. We're sharing the experiences. So let me go ahead and transition over to Yenny. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Virginia, for sharing. We're going to get into more conversation. So definitely stay tuned. You guys don't want to leave because I'm going to have questions for these ladies that are going to dive into like sex, relationships, emotional, like turmoil, all the things. So, all right, Yenny, I know. Let's go ahead and go over to you. So tell us, like, what is it? When did it start happening for you? How old were you? And then how old are you now? So like, how long ago was it?
Well, I started when I was 35 with hot flashes.
Yes.
But then I had a tube ligation when I was 21 after my daughter. So doctors were like, no, that's part of that. That's fine. It's okay. When I was 40, 6 years ago, lower back pains. It was really bad. Hot flashes. But my hot flashes didn't bother me, didn't stop me from sleeping. It was very, mild, they were not bad. I got used to, I guess. But then my uterus, so I started seeing a GI doctor, not a GI. See, that's after my gynecologist. And she said, like, no, what guarantees you that after hysterectomy, those pains are going to stop? How do you know they're associated? So I said, okay, fine. So I stayed another year with my uterus. And then one day it started growing. It got to a point where my belly was like a 6 months pregnant, a 6 month pregnant lady. So it started growing. And yeah, that was like back November 17 of last year. That's when I got I had a hysterectomy. I still have my ovaries, but from there on, everything that you can think of, I had. Depression, joint pains, back pains, every little joint was painful. I can't remember things, like everything from one day to the other. It was like, wait a minute, what happened? I thought, physically, I look better. But emotionally and internally, it's oh my God. I used to get a lot of GI problems, so I was sent to the GI doctor, to the rheumatologist. They diagnosed me with fibromyalgia. No, you don't. Later, yes. Later, no. Well, finally, they said no. Rheumatologist said, well, maybe you have arthritis. No, you don't. So it's been going back and forward for the last year. And what I currently have is night sweats. It's crazy. Dry skin, and of course, mood swings. Like any little thing would trigger me. Where before I felt that I had things under control. I've been to therapy for a long time, so I'm not afraid of going to therapy, always on and off. But I really have to control myself. And what I see is that 2 weeks, a week and a half out of the month, it's harder for me to control myself. And it's usually the end of the month. Everything else, I'm okay. Yeah, it's me. But there's this week and a half where I told people stay away from me because I might snap. And I know it's me. I know it's my hormones. So I do take full responsibility. They were giving me Cymbalta. It was not working. So I stopped. I took that medication for almost 2 months. I didn't see the change, and I was like, no, it's not. You're treating the symptoms, but yes, it's my hormones. No, but my doctor would test me prior that week and a half, and I was like, no, but nothing is going to change before. You need to test my hormones during that period of time where I'm telling you that I'm going crazy, that I can't, not even with myself, I can't be by myself. Like I'm upset if I don't do things, I can't find things, because before I knew where everything was. Right now, I don't know, like I place it and I forget where I place things. There was one time where I came back to my office 3 times because when I went out, I remember what I needed to get from my office inside. As soon as I walk in, like, why am I here for? Okay, I don't remember. So 3 times, it took 3 times. I started laughing, but there's moments that I get upset and it's like, oh my God, what's wrong with me?
Yes.
It's just all these things that, to me, it was from one day to the other that I realized. Before, it was just pains.
Sorry, my dog is barking like crazy, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I hope you can't hear her. But yeah, I mean, when you talk about like memory, so my memory stopped around, oh my goodness, I think I was in my mid-20s, and my memory just went downhill. And I literally went to the doctors asking if I was going to have Alzheimer's, if I was going to have dementia. I was really scared. Yeah. And like, oh, they're like, oh, that usually happens because you're a mom and you have a lot on your mind. Okay. I know other moms that have perfect memory. Like my memory just went down. I mean, there's people that will come up to me and like say hello. And I'm just like, hi. And I don't know who they are. Oh yeah, we met, blah blah, I'm so sorry. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like I don't want to be rude. I love on people, and it's like I don't remember things. So whenever like I get together with friends and stuff, like Virginia, we got to get together and you can share all the memories, hopefully that you remember, and I'll share some that I remember.
Excellent. We'll balance each other out somehow.
We'll balance it out. Yeah. We'll bring in Gabby too, because I think she remembers more than we do. But anyway,
Excellent.
So yeah, so like, that's when my memory went downhill, and it literally got worse over time. And so it's been crazy. But I mean, when mine, to go back on the reason why my hysterectomy took place is because I had an IUD. And so the IUD was the birth control that went inside. And so I started to break out really bad on my face. And, I was like, why am I getting acne? And they're like, oh, well, it's not the IUD. Whatever birth control you were on before was keeping the acne away. So I was like, okay, for 8 months, I dealt with acne. I was like, take it out. I'm done. Once that happened, like it got really, like my period started, because I had normal periods. Every, I think, 27 days, I had my period. But like it started to get bad. Like every year, there was pain. There was pain. There was pain that started to get really bad. I had to start calling out of work. I had to start like, and then it became from one day excruciating pain to 2 days. I was like on ibuprofen 800, and I would go to the doctors and I would ask the questions, and I'm like, what is going on? Oh, well, just stay on birth control. You don't have to take a period. Like you don't need it. You're good. Stay on birth control. That's the answer to your question. I mean, to my question of like, what should I do? What is going on with my body? So that's when I just really started to get frustrated. And then so I think it was in 2020 actually, because in 2021 I had my hysterectomy. In 2020, I started to sorry everyone, I started to like bleed nonstop for a whole month. And I was just like, oh my goodness, like now this is crazy. So I went to my gynecologist, a man, take it out. He's like, well, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, why are you against this? Like, what is wrong? He goes, well, I never like to take organs, from women, we can go this route. And I looked into that other route he had recommended, and it was like, it can come back. And so basically I'm like going to mess up on this word, but I had adenomyosis. It's the opposite of endometriosis. And so basically, I had like that pain. It was because it was that. And so when my friend, I spoke about it. I spoke online what I was going through because I wanted other women to understand, fight for yourself, And so when I spoke about it, a friend of mine, she's like, oh, I just had a hysterectomy. I'm like, where'd you go? Like, it was like, we're all trying to get to that doctor that's doing hysterectomy. Like, it's so sad. And so she referred me to this woman in Downey. And before you know it, like I gave her all of my tests, my MRI, everything that showed it was that. And so she goes, okay, well, you've done everything. That your next step is a hysterectomy. And I said, okay, great, let's go. Like schedule out, like let's do this, And I remember having to sign so many papers because I was still in childbearing years. You can still have more kids. You can still have more kids. Are you sure you want to do this? You can still have more kids. And I was like, take the shit out. Take it out. You know what I mean? I was just like, I have my son. We're good. Oh, I'm good. So anyway, it was a constant fight. And then she was the same doctor that after we did everything, I was telling her about the insomnia and like how I was going through all these different symptoms. And she goes, no, I go, I think I'm in perimenopause. And she goes, no, you're too young. And I was 40, and a woman doctor told me that. And so I was just like, okay. So now that I'm really listening to everyone else's stories and, what they've gone through, and then talking to, because next week I've already had conversations with health and wellness coaches, nutritionists, iridologists, physician's assistants that are doing, integrative medicine. Okay, so a friend of mine, another friend who I grew up with, Leanna, she's coming on next week, and she's going to be sharing about, I didn't know what integrated medicine was. I was like, I didn't look that up. I didn't know what that was. And I said, what does that mean? And she goes, it means that we get to the root cause. Girl, I was like, yes, she spoke the words that every single woman wants to hear. Because, as a coach, when I do coaching with my clients, it's not just about, so how you feeling today? Okay, that's great. No, let's get to the root cause of what's happening. Yeah. Why is this happening for you? You know what I mean? Or to you. So it's asking those questions and things like that. So when she said that, I was like, yes, this is exactly what we need to know, is getting to the root cause. Because, it's not okay. I met a woman yesterday who, she was struggling. She was a makeup artist, and now she's struggling with her, with the symptoms she went through, to the point where they put her on medication, and they're calling it bipolar now. So if we have the opportunity to not just push medicine first, but to actually listen correctly, listen to people, listen to these ladies, and know that they're not crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A lot of females are being misdiagnosed when they go and see a therapist.
Yes.
And that's what I tell people. I have clients that are going through that, that you really need to listen to them
Yes.
and dig deeper to see when did it start.
Yes.
Why? It's
Yes.
not just because one day they woke up with this symptoms or with, now they're depressed, but it could be the hormones.
Mm-hmm.
And I always ask that question, do you think your hormones can be affecting you?
Right.
Always that, or to a female after 35, that's one of my questions.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And I'm so glad. And that's why, like I connect with a lot of these therapists that know that they get to go further in the question asking, they get to really understand the person as a person. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I think it's so important that we ask these questions, that we get to the root cause of what's causing it. And so next week, we're going to have these amazing women that are coming in. We have a nutritionist, we have health and wellness, we have fitness, and we have a physician assistant, the integrative medicine, who's going to be sharing, things that you can take action with, and how to, focus on what, even the foods, the nutrition is going to label, she's going to share all the foods that we should be eating as women going through perimenopause, heading into menopause. So you all definitely don't want to miss next week. But let's go ahead and get into some questions. We're going to be like, okay, so let's have a little fun. Not like we haven't been having fun, because, why wouldn't we have fun just throwing our life stories out there about
Yeah.
what we're with?
Yeah, it's so much fun talking about aging. It's awesome.
Right? Like, let's be okay with this, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree. Let's have fun with this. Like I don't know what you've gone through, but I have 2 gray hairs on my freaking eyebrow. Like, what is that?
I have one of my eyelashes is
Oh
gray.
my goodness. It was like one popped up, and I was like, what are you doing there? And then I plucked him out, and then his friend showed up, and I was like, oh, now they're both like chilling, just hanging out there. And I was like, I can't with you guys. Like, you need to get off my face already. So it's been nuts. But yeah, to really see like the changes, like, I mean, I love social media. Social media keeps me sane, because there's times like I'll scroll and they talk about perimenopause symptoms and all the things. And one of them was like, when you call your friends to go out and they're like, yeah, we're going to meet up at 9. And we're like, yeah. It's like, we're going to the place at 10. I was like, I'm in bed by 10. Like,
yes. So yes, I'm in bed by 10, so I can wake up at 3 hours without sleep and then go back to sleep.
Right? I'm serious. Like, people, like I don't even know what they're talking about. But if you all have questions, definitely drop them here. We want to be able to answer any questions or share, with us. Chris dropped in and said, Hillcrest. Hey, Chris. Oh my goodness. Christian. I went to Hillcrest with him. And then Luz says, hello, ladies. So yay. Hi. We're loving these conversations. So definitely let us know if you all want to share. But I've been putting out, like, if, anybody wants to share what they've gone through. A friend of mine, she says she's going through plantar fasciitis or something like that. Yeah. Another friend, I said, what happened to you? And she's like, it was horrible. It lasted 12 years for her. Hers was vaginal dryness, night sweats, insomnia, mood swings were insane. She's like, I wanted to kill everyone and I cried for everything. I was like, oh, honey.
My girlfriend Gabby, actually, she said, ask about itchy ears. She said her ears were so. See, it was the first time I heard of it.
Goodness.
I will ask about itchy ears.
Yes. Yes.
Gabby, girl, it's a thing.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Her ears are itchy. I'm like,
I saw that. Okay. Somebody mentioned that. Oh, you know what? It was a reel I saw, because it's like, oh, you didn't even know. And then it was like, you're going through this, and itchy ears came out. I'm like, oh, I do have itchy ears.
And they give me allergy pills that won't work. Sometimes I take 2 and it's like, but I'm still itchy. So
yes.
I wake up at night and it's really bad. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I'm like all curious, like, now is it internal or is it outside? Because I have both.
Oh, I didn't even think to ask her what it was, but she
I'm
just
always
said,
like
girl,
this.
itchy ears.
And then I'm always like this. Like, I have a little itch right there, or I'm always like this. So it's like.
And sometimes it's inside.
It is inside. Okay, yeah. So, so my friend also noticed her skin change. And she's like, my husband was a saint putting up with all of it. So, men, we know you're watching. We love you for this. Just support us no matter what, wherever we're at. You know, we love on you. We know we're gonna give you, you know, all the things. You know, we just may be crazy a little bit because it's not us. It's actually our bodies changing on us. So we appreciate you. We love on you. Thank you for supporting us, even when we're absolutely batshit crazy. So sorry about that. So, yeah, sorry. Tell Neil, sorry.
Could you just chew quieter?
Yeah, I feel that things that didn't bother me before, now it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it's like, why am I changing so bad? Is it me? What's going on? So I start questioning myself, because before there were little things that, okay, that's fine.
The irritability, really
Yes.
hit. It doesn't hit me as much. It hits me like, it's almost like I feel like it's maybe once every month, but then I feel like I can go like maybe 2-3 months without it. And then, but when it comes, I know when it's there, and I literally let everybody know. I know when it's there. Like Yenny said, you know, you tell yourself, like, just back away. Just, you know, you're good. I'm about to lose my shit. So, just, you know,
You got to put yourself in a timeout.
yeah, that's it. And so I literally stay away from people. I will tell my son, I'm irritable today. I will tell my mom, I'm irritable today. So it's like, they already know, you know what I mean? So it's like, if they do something that does it and I snap, I'm like, I told you I was irritable today. But it's so funny, because if you know me, you know I'm happy-go-lucky, right? But I kid you not, that day, I'm like, nothing I say will come out like, you know, hey, how's it going? And, you know, things like that. It'll be like, yeah, okay, yes, I need you to do that. No. And it's just so straight faced, to the point it's like, I don't even know how to smile. It's weird. It's really weird. So yeah, just to be able to give yourself grace, ladies. It's all good. Okay. So let me go ahead and go into what we're going to discuss. So some of the things that have come up were, like, obviously the hot flashes, the emotional changes, the, you know, ups and downs with the hormones and things like that. So let's go. Okay. So what is the most unexpected place you've had a hot flash? Virginia.
Oof, most unexpected place. You know, so far mine have only been when I sleep. I have like the horrible night sweats.
Okay.
So I haven't yet experienced inconvenient hot flashes out in public, though I know they're common and they happen. I think you had posted a video of a lady who's like, you could just see the heat coming off of her head. And I was like, oh my gosh, that must be horrible. Because that's how I feel in bed.
Yeah.
But to just go with that, I live with a bunch of boys. I have to put clothes on to walk around the house. Like, I have to, right?
Yeah.
So for me, like, that's an inconvenience, because I'm hot. I'm really hot. And I don't want to put clothes on, you know, and I can't just like walk around my house in my underwear, because I've got, like, you know, my son's here. But I have to be very like mindful, like, I'm going through this right now, but you're all going through it with me too. So just kind of, you know, give the patience and understand. But yeah, I think for me, that's like the biggest challenge is facing it in a house full of boys. That's been challenging, but I haven't had to, you know, experience the hot flashes in public, but like, I have, you know, lots of my cousins are going through it, and they're like, oh my God, it's horrible. And I can't even imagine, because if I'm as sweaty in public as I get in bed, that's just not good. And I'm like, not even at the gym. It's not like I'm running on a treadmill or trying to run a marathon or anything. I'm just like, you know, doing grocery shopping.
Seriously.
No.
And I did a pre-recording with Daisy, and unfortunately we were unable to get that recording up to play today, and I'm so bummed about that, but her and I will have to do a future show together. But she talked about how she was just like, her whole body's like so hot on fire, and she's like trying to put ice in her And she shared it. I was like, oh my goodness, girl. So I get it. I'm like, okay. But Yenny, you actually shared too about how you sleep with towels next to you, right?
Yes.
So go ahead.
I don't have that many hot flashes outside or bad, when I'm in places. It's just at night sweats.
Yes.
So I get a towel for my back of my neck, inner thighs, under my breast. So it's just when they move, I could feel, and then suddenly I'm like this hot flash, and I'm like with the with the blanket.
My back's
And
hot
then,
again.
and then my husband is like, "Oh, I'm cold, but I'm." So,
You're like, sorry.
Yeah, too bad.
yeah.
Too bad. Go get more blankets.
I don't know if you guys get after it's hot, you get cold
Yes.
for
So
a few
Daisy said that.
minutes,
Yeah.
and then so I get really like cold. Like I'm really cold. I'm really cold.
Yeah. That's what she
fire.
shared, and I'm so bummed you didn't get a chance to hear her message. But yeah, she shared that same thing. She's like, the one thing that people should know is like when they get really hot, after it passes, they get really cold. And she goes, and that was mind blown. She was mind blown from that. And it's like, so yeah, after my hot flash, like I ended up like getting back under my blankets, and I was just like, okay, cool. But I had to like, again, take off like my pants, anything. Like I was just in underwear, and I let the cool sheets hit my back. Cause again, it's like fire. I feel like my skin is on fire. And so, but it's weird because I only get it in the back, which I'm going to ask, our medical professionals and coaches next week about, cause I'm just curious to see what that, is going to look like,
or like the back of your neck and it's all sweaty when you wake up.
Yeah. I've gone through that.
So
Yeah.
gross and uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and go to the next one. All right. So what's the craziest thing you've said or done during a mood swing? I think Virginia just shared hers.
I mean, yeah, the chewing thing, that's pretty messed up. But
can you chew any louder?
I think that I would throw away things that are out of place in my house, and I wouldn't care who it is. Shoes, clothes, and it's like everything out.
You're like, it's all going. I don't care whose it is. You better claim
it's
it.
in the way.
Yeah, I had enough with this. So everything.
Yep. Oh, I get it. Let me see. What did I do? I don't know if I did anything. No, but I get a lot of the back stuff like when I'm driving. So like, I mean, I think it's just sitting in general. So it could be like I looked it up too, and it's like it could be nerve pain and things like that. That associate with the hormones as well. That can feel like a hot flash. So, but yeah,
nerve pain. I got that, but it's usually my toes.
On your what?
My toes.
Oh, your
they were
toe.
like my feet. Yeah. And I was like, oh my, I went to the doctor and I said, oh my God, I feel that it's burning. And she touched it. No, I don't feel anything. And I was like, it's burning. I know it's burning. I could feel it. She's like, no, there's nothing. Like, she never said
burning. My back is burning right now.
About nerve, so it was amazing how I had to like research everything. Thanks God for YouTube now and for Google, because I'm Googling everything at 3 a.m. I'm like researching all these things.
That's your research time when you're out.
It's going to go into my next question. What's the strangest new physical symptom you've experienced? Example, sudden burst of energy at 3 a.m., a newfound talent for remembering obscure facts, or a sudden aversion to certain foods?
Oh God, no aversion to food. I love food.
I love food.
Thank God that didn't go away. Yeah, weird thing. You know what? It would be my memory. Like Yenny was saying, she'll walk into her room and forget why she walked in there. I'll do that. I'm like, what was I here to get? I don't remember. But it's funny because between my best friend and I, like, she'll always ask me, oh, remember this person? And I'm always like, yes, that person. She's like, how you always come through. You always remember a name, but I can't remember what I did yesterday.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I have like the mind of Dory. I'm like, I don't know.
Oh my goodness. My friend from years ago, she used to call me Dory. Because again, it started in my 20s. So like now I'm in my 40s. She would call me Dory for 10 years. She's like, oh, look at Dory. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. I was Dory. Like, I forget.
And like you, Francine, like my memory, I was nervous because there's a history in my family of Alzheimer's. And so once I started to realize that my memory was kind of crap, like my parents would be like out and they're like, remember that time? And I'm like, I don't remember that at all. And I was like, crap, what's going on? So I actually went to a geneticist with my mom because I was like, I know I'm not crazy. I can't remember. Like there are some things that I just can't remember. And I'm not like blocking things out, but I just whole like scenarios, like family vacations and events. I'm like, we did that? Really? So I was really nervous. And this was, I probably was like 39 or 40 when I went with my mom to go get that done. So again, it's, you know, I'm 46 now. So that's when it started kind of creeping in, and I was like, what is going on? Like usually my memory is really good, but that was surprising to me.
About a year ago, there was like when you talked about not remembering what happened yesterday, like that was me. That is me. And so like we went to, it was me, my friend's daughter and her cousin and my son. We went to Disneyland. And we went to Disneyland on, let's say we went on Thursday, right? And then on Saturday, we all met at a quinceañera. And I was so happy that my son came to the quinceañera because, you know, he got to see, you know, my friends and their family, like all of them. And so I went and introduced him to my friend's daughter and cousin, or to my friend's cousin. And I'm like, oh my God, this is my son. Look, this is Auntie. Auntie, this is Brandon. And he looked at me confused. And I was like, what? And then my son goes, she doesn't remember we were together on Thursday.
Oh my
Girl,
gosh.
my face went like so hot. I got so hot and red, I'm sure. How embarrassing. And like my brother actually said it's happened to him too. Like he's done something like that. But it's just like, I remember just being mortified, you know, like, oh my, how did I forget? You know
what? Now that you bring that up, guys also go through that with a lot of symptoms after 45, 40. And they don't talk about it. They're just, you know, but I've seen a couple of people where they're very forgetful. Yeah, they were very sharp before.
All right,
that's
don't take this from us.
That's another program that you should research and do, and they need to really talk about that. Because they do. I can't say names because it's not acceptable, but I've noticed that decline in memory. Let's put it that way. So,
are you sure they're not saying that so they don't remember anniversaries and stuff like that?
I know, right?
I don't know.
They can't use that. They can't use that. Oh my goodness.
It should be on their phone.
Don't take that from us. This is our thing.
Come on.
I love it. No, it's true. It's true. Like, you know, when I was on one of the last shows, I was talking and I said, you know, what other things, because we have about 30% of men watching the show. And so, you know, I asked and one of the men had said, you know, why don't we do a show on like men, like what they're going through as far as like midlife crisis or, you know, and it's like, and I'm completely open to that. I'm completely open to that. So that's fine. It's just, you know, we all know men do go through something similar, but we have the hormones that really jack us up. And so ours are just on a bigger level. But yeah, I can totally see that men go through something similar because, you know, again, they're forgetful through things. So,
and that's part of the testosterone. So when the testosterone goes down, it hits them more emotionally than us female. It
hits them more, really interesting.
Yeah.
What kind of symptoms? We're gonna have to ask that. What kind of symptoms?
Yeah. So,
what kind of symptoms do they go through?
Well, testosterone is part of energy, muscle. That's why you see older guys.
Okay.
Yeah. So hormone replacement for them, it's also big right now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's a
Yeah,
lot of
it is.
men that, and I'm sorry, men, but usually some of the men, not all men, I'm not saying all men, but there's some men like in their 40s and above that are losing their, erectile
Hmm. Function.
issues,
Yeah. The
function. Yeah.
hair. Yeah.
And it's
Mhm.
just, it's interesting, and so,
And what happens, I'm sorry to cut you off, what happens is that if there's not a good communication, they're blaming it on the female. Oh, because you, and then the female, it's going through menopause, is like, oh yeah, that could be true. So I do couples counseling, and that's where I'm like aware of both. It's like, okay, I see how this is
yeah,
going. It's
Mm.
their issues, but the female is going through a lot of things too that
yeah.
sometimes they doubt.
Yeah. Well, I
Wow.
mean, I think it's just a form of communication. And then, like, it's a proud thing for men. They don't want to talk about it, if that's something that's affecting them.
Yeah.
And so leads us to our next question. Our last question for both of you is, like, how has menopause or perimenopause, because I know we're not in menopause yet. I think you ladies
Mm-hmm.
still have your periods, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Unless you don't have, unless you have
When
no
it wants
uterus.
to,
Yay, Yanni.
when it wants to show
Yes,
up.
girl. High five. High five. Let's do the high five. It's okay, Virginia. It's okay. You'll be there in menopause soon, and it'll all stop for you.
Lovely. Yeah. No, when it decides to show up, one
Yeah.
month, maybe 1 month, twice. I don't know. I used to be able to set my clock by my period. It was so regular. And now
And
I'm
now
just
it's
like,
not.
I don't know.
I
I'm
don't
like,
know.
oh,
We'll
maybe
see.
maybe I'll have one this month. Maybe I won't. I don't
Okay.
know.
Oh, so yours is dwindling off. Interesting, because again, you're my age, right? Are you 46?
Yeah, I'll be 47 in January.
Yeah. So usually, like, menopause
Yeah.
was happening to women in their 50s. So
Right.
50s, early
Before.
50s, 50s. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like I've just seen that, the change over the years. But
Yeah.
so how has it affected your sex life? Embarrassing moments,
Uh,
anything like that you want to share?
I'm just more, I think, frustration, but yes, communication number one is like the biggest thing with your partner to have, as much as my husband Neil doesn't like to hear about me going through these things, it's part of life. It's happening. I'm going through it.
It's happening.
So it's happening. It's happening. But he's very understanding. But yeah, it's just we're not in sync on that right now because for me, I'm just like, let me handle myself right now and get myself solid because I can't give any love right now,
Oh,
And I mean,
yeah.
it's hard. It's a give and a take. And
Yeah.
it's the communication. It's nothing with our relationship. It's none of that. It's just what my body's going through. But right now my body's like, nah, I'm good. I'm solid. Like, I don't need it. Like, we're good with what we got right now. Yeah. And he's like, well, that sucks.
Of course.
I know it sucks. It totally does. But I mean, again, it's that communication,
Yeah.
I love you.
But
But my body's just not having it right now. Yeah. I love you so much.
Tell
Don't
Neil,
touch
Neil I'll be
me.
praying for him. Tell Neil I'll be praying for him. I will be praying for that man.
God bless him.
God bless him. God bless him.
No, but it's and again, like Yenny said, you have to have that communication because, like it or not, we're all going to go through these changes. We're all aging, men and women, and it's going to manifest itself differently in everyone.
Yeah.
And I just, you have to have that open line of communication, even, if they don't want to hear it, but just so they know, like, I don't ever want him to think it's him,
No, yeah,
it's not him. And, oh my gosh, it's not you, it's me.
It's not you. I was just going to say.
It's not
It's
you,
not
it's my
you, it's
hormones. Like, but it just, you have to talk, but unfortunately for me, it has gone down. And I do say unfortunately because, like, I like sex. Sex is awesome, but I'm just like,
not now.
I'm praying for you, Neil. I'm praying for you.
Everyone send him some love.
I'm going to send him flowers.
He'll be like, I just had this overwhelming feeling of like love all of a sudden. And I'm like, Good. Get it when you can, honey.
Yeah.
All right, Yenny, take it away, hun, before we wrap up.
I think it's dry, and it's been dry for a few years. But that phrase is not you, it's me. I'm the one changing.
Yeah.
I think that's my mantra. It's an everyday conversation. Please, it's not you, it's me.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
you know these hormones just stay with.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
there's
Bear
another
with
times
me.
where, or there's another times where I said, "This is it. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
I just can't. I want to be by myself." You know, I had those thoughts, and
Right.
it's like, wow, after 26 years, yeah, I can't take it. I would love to be by myself, like with no responsibility. That's how I feel. Like I don't want to tell people what to do, how to do it. That's it. I just want to be by myself.
Yeah. I get it. I get it.
I get it too.
So I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to get your husband's names and address. So I can send him flowers too. I don't know if this is a like single thing, married thing, but like no, I'm like when I remember when I was younger and they talked about like when we hit a certain age. Is that a car? in the
That's
back?
my.
Oh,
Yeah.
can you mute really quick, hun? So yeah, so I don't know what it is. It's like ultimately like, you know, I remember hearing that we were going to like skyrocket in our you know, as we got older, you know, and I was like, what does that mean? That we were gonna hit this like this phase of like overdrive. And so I was like, okay. And I'm like, well, that's a blessing. I'm single during this overdrive. That's not fun. so I'm just like, I had to ask because it's just like, okay, like what are other women experiencing? And like, you know, okay, when you ladies talk about dryness, you know, if anybody out there talks about dryness, I'm like, there's certain things he can do for that. So anyways, I just had to share it because it's like, come on, you know, we all know that it's like something that we can support one another with. And granted, again, I know what you ladies are going through. I'm not going through that, but I can have empathy for that. Hence the reason why I'm sending your husband's flowers. And so, but it's like, no, we just bless them, you know, for, you know, their patience and their understanding. And eventually, you know, hopefully that it's something that passes for you ladies and you're able to like enjoy it again. You know what I mean?
It's too. I feel like right now for me, it's still too soon to be like R.I.P. Virginia's libido. Like I'm not ready for that. You know, I'm not ready for that. When you said that yours like is an overdrive, I'm like, damn, I want that problem. Like, duh, I'll take that. Yeah.
It's not fun when you're single. I promise you, it is not fun. I mean, it's like I feel for your husbands because it's like they're like, oh, you know, their wives are going through this, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of single women out there that are in my shoes that are like, oh my goodness, this is so frustrating, you know. So I get it. But
I know a couple.
Yeah, you what?
I know a couple where they told me, oh, you wait until you're 45. And I'm like, okay, I'm 45. And nothing happened.
Yes. Okay, so you heard that too, that your sex drive was going to go in like.
But they're single.
It what?
But they're single. The ones the 3 or 4 that I know, they're single. They're not married. And that's where I tell people communication is a key because we're very emotional and everything bothers us. So that connection is not there. So it's less of a drive. Hormonal, emotionally, it takes a little longer. But I just said, you know, you want it once a month, great. Or every week, and it's like whatever you decide. So once a month that it's the best.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for joining. Oh my goodness, this was such a great conversation. I appreciate you both. Thank you. Is there anything you want to leave with our audience? Just a quick like word. Or
you're not alone.
You're not alone.
You're not alone. And don't think you're crazy or let someone tell you you're crazy with your feelings, the hormonal imbalance, the changes physically you're going through. And you know your body the best. Like, we've been through a lot with our bodies as women.
Absolutely.
A lot. And you know your body. And if a doctor's answer isn't good enough for you, if you are able to get another opinion, or if you're able to continue seeking whatever avenue you need to go, so you just for confirmation, look for it, find it, because again, everything kind of started to fall into place with me when I found my physician who listened to me. And once I had that, I was able to be more accepting of like, okay, this is what I'm going through.
Yeah.
I was so scared of it before when I was younger, right? When you're young, you think like, oh my God, 40 is so old.
Yeah.
And then we turned 40 and I was like, I don't feel old.
I don't either.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. But, you have to come to the acceptance, or I came to the acceptance of like, okay, this is what I'm going through now. This is my body. This is me. And in this phase, I have to just really like love where I am, accept it, and whatever I need to get through it gracefully, then I'm going to do it. So just, you're not alone.
Perfect.
It's totally normal.
Awesome. Jenny, quick 10 seconds, wrap it up.
Look for help. If you're diagnosed with depression, anxiety, please don't take medication. That shouldn't be the first thing you do, but look for help.
Yes. Absolutely. So 100% agree. Thank you so much, ladies. And be sure to stay tuned for next week as we bring in all the experts so that we can share with them all of our craziness and your craziness. So if you have questions and you want to know and you want answers to those questions about what you're experiencing in perimenopause or menopause, definitely join us next Wednesday, November 27th at 5 p.m. PST. I love you, ladies. Have a beautiful day, evening, wherever you're watching from. Thank you for joining the show. And we'll see you next week on another episode of You Were Meant for More. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I want to get to know what you do, what inspires you, what you enjoy.
My ability to lead really impacts women on a larger level, because not every woman has the same story or the same journey. So understanding where they've come from and where they want to go helps me be the leader that I can, so that I can show up in a space of authenticity for them.